Views expressed on this program are those of the host, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views of the station, its management, or advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Living Heaven on Earth. I'm Kornelia Stephanie, and I'm excited about this next show, Stories of Hope. We have 4 guests that are going to share their incredible story of what they're doing in their life to make their lives better and, of course, help other people. Help as many people as they possibly can. This is what I heard in our last hour. I want to help as many people as I possibly can. That's the nature of the human spirit, isn't it? Isn't that the nature of the human spirit? I want to help as many people as I can. My first guest, Jess RC. Is it RC?
It's RC, but that's close enough.
Jess RC, called Coach Jess, is the founder and CEO of I'm Not Done. Jess struggled in school her entire life, and she is helping other people now not to struggle. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Yes, it's wonderful that you're here. So what is your business? What are you up to? What is the message that you want to say to our audience today?
So, like you said, my corporation is I Am Not Dumb, Inc., and my tutoring business is Lexia Learners, and we specialize in helping students of all ages from age 7 to 77 learn to read, spell, or do math if they are struggling because of learning differences like dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, and similar brain-based learning differences.
Wow, yeah. So, and there's, I'm sure, a lot of people out there that have issues like that, and to not be labeled per se, right? And some people just learn in different ways. Some people just learn in different ways. So it's wonderful what your company is doing and what you created, because obviously it's something that you had struggles with in your own life. Is that why you started that business?
Well, actually, no. I started the business because I was helping my own kids. So dyslexia is hereditary, and I did not know I was dyslexic. I was just told I had a reading disability. But I was held back in 3rd grade because I couldn't read, and I acted up a lot, and I ended up learning how to read the second time around in 3rd grade, and then I moved on and graduated high school actually at 16 because I went to an alternative type of a program, and I was able to accelerate. And then I had children, and my oldest son was amazing reader. He read on an 8th grade level in like 2nd or 3rd grade. But my daughter, who came after him, was struggling. And when she was 3 years old, she couldn't cut with scissors and she couldn't draw pictures. And so I started wondering what was going on with her, why she had these challenges. I was a preschool teacher at the time, so I understood what her benchmark should be. And so when we moved to Texas, and my daughter's teacher within 1 week there said, oh, she's dyslexic, after I had spent 10 years asking teachers and administrators and anyone I could what was going on. And we hired tutors and we had teachers tutor her, but nothing helped. And So Texas is so knowledgeable of dyslexia that they were able to identify it immediately. And then she started getting help the next year. And then my fourth child also has profound dyslexia. And so he is really the reason I started the business, because he was getting help in school in in Texas, and we were moving back west. So his teacher said, you need to learn how to teach him so that he can learn. And I was planning on homeschooling the kids. So I said, if I'm going to be teaching the kids anyway, I want to teach them how they're going to learn. And so I learned a Orton Gillingham-based program, which is multi-sensory. And I started teaching my son. And then I made my daughter start working with me, because the program I was using was better than what she had experienced in school. And then I started being able to identify the characteristics of dyslexia in other people, and they started asking me to teach their kids. So I never planned on starting this business, and it started twice, because I started it when we moved back to Las Vegas, and then we left Las Vegas and moved to California, and people begged me to tutor their kids again. So that's how my business started.
Wow. And how long ago has that been now?
So it was 2011 when I first started helping my own kids. 2015 when I started Lexia Learners. And now today, I have tutors who work for me who teach the students the way that I train them to teach them.
That's actually brilliant. So you basically are a school, if you will, right? And you train your students to teach others. So it can help. It can help. Is that what you do?
I don't train my students to teach others, but I hire a staff who, and they go through a very rigorous training or rigorous interview process before we get to the rigorous training, so that they can help students. However, I try to employ my students in any way that they feel, that it's their strength. So I have done like a comic book with one of my students. I have another student who was supposed to be my assistant last summer, but because of COVID, she wasn't able to. But I just talked to her mom this week, and when COVID's over, I'm going to have a camp in California where we're planning on buying property, and she's already going to be a camp counselor. So, I like to give my students work, but typically my students are not dying to be teachers.
Yeah. And it sounds like this is just like growing organically, like, the next phase and the next phase and the next phase. So what is it that you want to say to the audience today, like to the moms that may be listening that are challenged with maybe, having a child like you do? And what is it that you want to say to them?
One thing I find, and a lot of times I'm in an adult dyslexia group, and a lot of times people just feel like there's no hope. Like they just have to take a minimum wage job because they can't read well, and they don't. I have never really loved reading. I try to interact with people more verbally than in emails. And I have been an entrepreneur my entire life, and I have never had a minimum wage job. When I was in high school back in the 80s, I made $10 an hour, which was great back then, when minimum wage was like $4.25. So, it's really important to believe in your kids and to help them blossom in the areas that they are stronger, and really help develop their strengths and not feel like it's hopeless, because it's not hopeless. There are amazing dyslexic people out in the world, and there's amazing CEOs like Richard Branson who make millions of dollars. So I think that's what's most important, is to realize that there is hope for your children.
So how can we follow you, learn more about you, maybe contact you? How can people, pick up the phone, reach out and talk to you if they have questions or whatever? How can they, what's your social media handles?
So Lexia Learners is our handle for everything. And it's LexiaLearners. And the best way to reach me is to schedule a free consultation. And the best way to do that is through bit.ly/Lexia Learners. Call. Lexia Learners call. And the L is capital, both L's, and the C is capital.
Okay. Yeah. I always find that like a person that's been through an experience, had the experience like you did with your children, you are much more compassionate, much more educated, much more sensitive to the needs of the children or whoever the person is, even if you're coaching someone or whatever, because you learn through your own experience. And when we come at it from our own experience, we're coming at it from something that, hey, this is something that I've faced, this is something that I've had to deal with, and I've overcome it, and there is hope. And
right.
That's what you're saying. The message is that, don't give up hope. Find ways to, support your children, and that they can move beyond this and they can use it to their advantage instead of their disadvantage. And There's just a better way, another way. And that's what you're saying with today's story of hope, right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. When we tutor students, typically they're about 2 years behind, and within 2 years, they're usually 2 to 4 years ahead. So they usually gain 4 to 6 years of reading ability within just 2 to 3 years.
That's wondерful. Well, thank you so much, Coach Jess, for coming on. Thank you for sharing your incredible story. Many blessings to you, your school, your children, and whatever else you're up to. And do stay in touch with us. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Have a wonderful weekend.
You too. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Marriage is not always easy, but skills that improve communication go a long way. Tune in to the Relationship Rehab Show, Recovering Happiness in Your Love with Nancy Landrum and Dr. Pat each month on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Nancy is an author and teacher empowering couples to create and sustain loving marriages. Learn to listen, speak, and handle conflict with respect so your love can flourish. To learn more about Nancy and her work, visit nancylandrum.com.
We remember a time when you could simply form a thought and it would manifest. The harmony was forgotten, but it is returning now. The Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Juliet Griffin on TransformationTalkRadio.com each second and fourth Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll take you on adventures through the heart and spirit, exploring who we once were. This intuitive healer studied under the guidance of wolves, learning from their wisdom to master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. Visit OneTrueSelf.com.
Are you truly ready to experience overflow in every area of your life? Are you ready to go from limited to limitless? Imagine starting your week off with a deeper connection to the God consciousness. It's time for you to feel inspired, uplifted, and shifted. I invite you to join me, Tracy L., online or in person for our Soul Sundays. Start your week off feeling empowered and ready to serve and expand the miracles waiting for you.
When was the last time you had that feeling that you knew something, but you couldn't explain how you knew it? How powerful would it be for your life and business if you could consciously tap into that magic within you? What if you could remember that there's something supernatural about you? Tune in to Absolute Alignment with Christelle Biga when success feels easy. Every first and third Friday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
I I have had such a good time on Tales from the Merworld Radio. It has been an opportunity for me to expand myself so dramatically and become much braver in my voice, to speak about the things that I'm passionate about that are a little bit out there. Your staff is amazing. Olivia is amazing. Jessica, everybody. Anytime I need anything, they show up right away. So thank you for having such an amazing team that is allowing me this platform to do what Spirit wants me to do.
Did you know that all of the shows on the Transformation Radio Network are available as podcasts to stream or download?
Really?
Check us out. Go to transformationradio.fm. We have business shows, spiritual shows, energy healing shows, and pretty much everything in between. Something for everyone, guaranteed to inspire, educate, and transform. We are transforming the world, one listener at a time.
Learn how to RISE in business by being confident on video. Confidence coach Susan Axelrod and online business producer Pam Sullivan have teamed up, bringing you a new podcast, Webcam Confidence for Women. Tune in live every first and third Friday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, and stay for an open virtual presenter studio session. Offering attendees confidence on webcam, a must-have skill for every woman in business. For more information, visit volutionvirtual.com/studio.
Welcome back, everyone. Kornelia Stephanie here. I hope you're enjoying the show as much as I am. It's amazing how fast these stories of hope go by. It's just incredible. My next guest, Tara Sticker, is a soul alignment coach. She's an energy healer, and she started her journey after the sudden death of her husband. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. Yes. So, my goodness, where do you want to take us to? Do you want to take us to the story began, or do you have something else that you want to share today?
No, I'm okay with that. And I know a lot of people, when they bring it up or they say it, they're like, I'm really sorry, but I'm okay talking about it. It was a life-changing moment, obviously, but it actually came out to be some of the best things in my life, like my growth and personal growth and my getting to know myself and who I really am, and everything just kind of opened up because I guess I needed to be pushed. I needed to be pushed out of my comfort zone. And so it's one of the saddest moments of my life, but also one of the greatest victories of my life too, I think.
So you came soul alignment, soul alignment and energy healer. So basically, before, when your husband was still alive, you weren't doing these things. You were not soul aligned, and you were not an energy healer.
No, exactly. And that's a great way of putting it. I was not soul aligned. I was a social worker, or in the social work field, for 22 years. And I loved it because I was helping people. But I always felt that we were putting Band-Aids on bullet holes. Like we were just kind of glossing over and just kind of trying to fix in the moment and not making some deep, really deep changes, because that's where the behaviors come from, right? So I would get a client to a good place, and then 3 months down the road, something would happen and we'd be right back, on square one. And in working with children family services, there's generational, like the abuse and everything is generational. And so I knew that because I've always been spiritual, not nearly as much as I am now, but I always knew that there's like deeper things that needed to happen, and it just wasn't working in the system. So when my husband passed, that was my chance to say no regrets, because that was kind of one of the biggest moments. He was literally on his deathbed, and he had always wanted to train dogs. And he said, I wish I would have went for it. I wish I would have done it. And that just like hit me in the heart. And I was like, okay, I am not living my potential. I am not doing what I'm meant to do. And so that was, like I said, the push out of the comfort zone that I needed to get me on my right track.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot of loss. I mean, you said a lot of things that really moved me. One, when you were a social worker and you were there and you were feeling like you were just, putting a Band-Aid on, issues and things, and there was no depth to get to the root core of what some of the issues were. You had already seen that, and you were like, I don't like this, I don't like that, and so you were projecting that out, and then basically it was already an invitation. So you left that work, and it was already an invitation to go inside so you can become soul aligned, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right. So that you can do that and do this work. And so then how long after you left that work until your husband passed away?
It was the same time. Like he passed, and then and then I didn't go back.
Wow. And so that's a lot of loss, because that's why I said that's a lot of loss to feel and deal with.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of loss.
A lot. And I mean, me, like everyone else, kind of, we feel like our careers are us, especially when you're in like a nurturing field like that. So it definitely is. I pretty much had to start from scratch, which is, like I said, probably one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me, because I did get to start from scratch. And
but it was, I'm sure that was like, okay, facing the loss of your career, not knowing what your new direction is, and then facing the loss of your relationship, and facing the loss of your husband, because it's not just the person, but also the relationship. Now you don't have that anymore either. And basically then you were just faced with yourself.
Yep, exactly. I was stripped away of all kind of the labels, wife, social worker, everything was kind of gone now. And so I was left with, I kind of describe it as my life was kind of in a rubble. And I was left with sorting out through the rubble what treasures I wanted to take with me and what was going to stay in rubble, and what I was going to leave behind and didn't want to be anymore. And so it's definitely been my journey, and it's by no means do I think it's over, because every day presents new exciting challenges or new growth opportunities. And so it's I don't think it's over, but it's definitely been a journey for sure.
Did you have support around you?
Absolutely. I have family and friends that are really supportive. And I did end up going into coaching kind of about a year after. And so I have some great supports with that too. I have a coach that I see all the time, and that's why I strongly believe in coaching so much, because it just is such a great opportunity to align with your soul, to align with your truth. And so it's
I
a
love
beautiful
that
thing.
I love that. I love, that how you became soul aligned, and then the coaching piece with coaching yourself, then coaching others, helping others in that way too. And then, having a coach is such a valuable investment that one can make in, helping you understand some of the things that that at the time that you couldn't understand or whatever. And then somebody as a coach to coach you and draw out of you what's next, and to keep you accountable, right?
Exactly. And I think that's the beauty of coaching, is it's not about telling you what to do. It's about bringing that wisdom out in you, and it's listening beyond the words, and it's listening beyond, it's kind of intuitive in a way, but it's definitely listening beyond the stories and listening beyond all of the beliefs and patterns and everything else, and getting to the core, like I couldn't do in social work, getting to the core of what's kind of going on, so that you can go, no, that's not working for me, or I'm good with that. And that's totally the person's choice. So I love that about coaching.
Yeah, a courageous, very courageous journey, the hero's journey, going in that direction. But I love what you chose, a soul alignment coach. I love that, because it is really truly about embodying the soul, being soul embodied, and being aligned with what the soul wants now. And the only way we can figure out what the soul wants now is by asking, and really being aligned with what are those messages. The mind might say one thing, and the soul might have another plan. And that's why we're here, is for that soul. So that's why I love that you use the word soul alignment, Tara. I think that's wonderful. Now, and your husband, he said a powerful thing to you, by saying, I wish I would have followed my dream, being a dog trainer. Is that what it was? Yeah. That was very profound to say that, you know, at death, right? When you're on your deathbed, that I wish I would have followed my dream. So for the audience, for everybody that's listening today, this message is for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
It's for
absolutely
all, like
it's so powerful. And I was just, you know, like I said, it just hit me like a ton of bricks, because we always think, oh, you know, I'll do it later. You know, we put all these things off, and you're not guaranteed later. Like, he passed away at a young age, and I'm not trying to put people into fear, but if that's kind of how you view life, like, you know, and that's kind of how I view my own life now. When something comes up and it's like, I want to do this, it's like, well, you know, maybe no. I'm like, nope, we're doing it.
Yeah. You're listening, and you're not letting fear drive you anymore. And that's all. You know, don't take today for granted is another thing. It's you know, because we don't know. Let's not be so arrogant to think that we're going to be here tomorrow, because tomorrow is a gift.
Absolutely.
And we just don't know. So it's really bringing it back home into the moment. Where can people find out a little bit more about you and your journey, and so we can follow you on social media?
Yes. So I'm TSW Life Coaching, which stands for Trust, Strength, Wisdom. And it's also my initials with his last name. And so you can find me on Instagram, on Facebook. I have a YouTube channel that I do for some of my energy healing stuff. And then my website is tswlifecoaching.com. So all of them are kind of under the same handle.
Good. We definitely should follow each other on YouTube as well, because I do a lot of work on YouTube also.
Awesome.
So definitely would love to, you know, let's instant message me so that we can get all those things taken care of.
For sure.
I definitely want to do that. And Tara, I just think it's fantastic, the work that you're doing on yourself. And of course, by you doing the work on yourself, you're helping so many people. Thank you for putting that into a business and, you know, finding your way, finding your new way. And that I can't even imagine what that's like, losing a husband, and the courage to go on from there.
Well, thank you so much. And all I can say is it's my soul alignment. This is what I was meant to do. And so it lights me up every single day. And I'm so grateful for that. It's not been easy all the time, but it's definitely been an amazing journey.
Yeah. Thank you, Tara. Thank you for coming on. I totally can feel it from you. So I love the journey you're on. Sending you many blessings, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we're going to take a break, you guys, and we'll be right back.
Yeah, yippee skippy to that, baby. We're not done yet. Some of us are out here to educate and inspire. This year, 2020, is the year we gotta show me the money in the cash flow. I'm Dr. Pat. This is the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By.
Visit thedrpatshow.com.
Wow. Hey, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By. I'm telling you, I got to pinch myself some days, because when each of us gets called to do something that we so not thought was in our wheelhouse to do for a purpose that's so much greater than us, we get to show up and shine.
If you would like to show up and shine on the Dr. Pat Show as a co-host or sponsor, send us an email to inspire@thedrpatshow.com.
The Truth is Funny. Shift Happens with Colette Marie Steffen is excited to welcome Karen Benton as a monthly guest host. Tune in on the third Wednesday of each month at 8 a.m. Pacific Time to regain confidence and trust in your capacity to create change in your life, your health, your family, and your well-being. Karen Benton is a mother, nurse practitioner, certified body talk practitioner, Franklin Method instructor, and owner of Limitless Living LLC. For more information about Karen, visit KarenBenton.com.
Transition, simultaneously the most difficult and vital part of the human experience. Without change, how would we grow? Tune in to Grounding into Your Radiance with Stacey Barber every second and fourth Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Step into your truth and allow the light into your life. For more information about Stacy and her services, visit stacybarber.com. That's Stacy, STACIE Barber.com.
Hello, I'm Carrie Kadambi, and this is your Spirited Exchange moment. Have you been searching everywhere for answers? Do you long for wise guidance to lovingly direct you? Guess what? You have your very own divine spirit guides in the highest light, available 24/7, just waiting to help you live your best life. Call in your spirit guidance on a daily basis to help you make important decisions. All you have to do is ask, with a sense of openness, curiosity, and willingness to be divinely guided. Throughout your day, be open to notice what shows up for you. A spoken phrase, a book, a message from a song, or simply a knowing. And always offer gratitude for that loving guidance, and don't forget to put it into action. Join me on Transformation Talk Radio for my show, A Spirited Exchange. For more information about me, visit thedivineguidancegift.com.
Imagine starting your week off with a teaching, a clearing, and an activation direct from the God consciousness. If you would like to feel more in charge of your week ahead, then I personally invite you to join me, Tracy L. Clark, for our monthly Soul Sunday non-denominational service at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, online or in person. All donations for this event go to the TLC Initiative Fund to help those in need. Sign up now at tracylclark.com and let's connect together in the glory realm.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm getting ready to introduce you to our next guest. Here's her bio. This is what I wanted you to hear today when I'm introducing her. Her name is Laura Kirby, and she's a 51-year-old woman living in Los Angeles. She's the mother of two beautiful young women in their 20s who are her heart and soul, and they're extremely close, even though they moved away for the first time last year. Instead of feeling that empty nest syndrome that many mothers feel, she has chosen to use that emptiness and a longing that her soul, in her soul for her daughters and for her beautiful guardian angel, Lily, to help other women with her story. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And thank you for reading that little intro. Anytime you speak of my two beautiful daughters, it just brings such a love warm to my heart, you know. But prior to having my two beautiful daughters, about 30 years ago, I wasn't strong enough to make a choice, and I instead chose to have an abortion. And that is a secret that I kept in for many, many years. I had told one person, and that was my ex-husband, and it didn't bond us, only because I wasn't in this state. I realize now, going back, you have to get back to the root of where your issues and where everything starts. And so coming into a relationship with that secret and that shame and that guilt, and already a feeling of feeling less than, and then him having his own traumas and things that he brought into it, it was a recipe for just a toxic marriage, and continued on later. It just continues to build on that shame and that guilt, because my daughters had, when I was listening to Ashley's earlier, she's talking about health issues of her child and her son, and my daughters both had health issues. I had health issues. You feel like you're being punished. You're feeling like you're, there's some, there, and you're never punished. We only punish ourselves. We are the ones who hold ourselves prisoner and captive of that guilt and that shame, because we hold it in for so long and we keep that secret. So fast forward some years later, I did share and open up and start talking, because, as I mentioned, the marriage just, was the abuse and cheating and different things that go into it. And I take my part in it, because I came into it with something, I just wasn't a strong woman back then. And there's many times, the reason I'm on here now is because it was a year ago that I, for the first time, spoke out to strangers that I never met before, that didn't share my story. I had shared it with my ex-partner. And then I had shared it with some friends and family. My mom, who years later, even though she knew in her heart, I never told her, and then I went through abortion healing. But even with that, there was 2 or 3 different times I wanted to go through it. I wasn't the right timing because of everything else I was going through. So I needed to process and go through all those different issues that I had. And then it was last year that something drew me to this class. It drew me to, it was called Live Video Sales Mastery. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm not trying to pitch a business, but I knew I had a message on my heart. And I knew I needed to find the confidence and the strength to speak up. And I'm trying to use the tools like I learned in there, because you're supposed to sometimes look at the camera, like look at the eye of the camera, but when you're having a one-on-one, it's a little different. So I'm like trying to feel that connection with my audience, because I know so many women are still hurting and in that pain that I was for many, many years. So now there's just so much opportunity to connect with others. And that's why I'm so proud of myself of the journey that I've made this past year. And that when I first spoke about that and spoke publicly in front of 13 strangers, I broke down. I couldn't get through my message without crying. And now I'm able to just have such, I made a little shrine. That's what you have to do you have to connect, to empower yourself to be able to not have it be a trauma for you. It's something that builds your courage and helps you speak out. So my message, her name was something I'd even had. Naming your child is something that helps women heal. Remembering when they would have gave birth or when they would have, conceived. And so that's part of the healing process. So her name, I had named her many, many years ago. And then her name was an evolution too of the spelling. And so her message, her name stands for love is loving yourself. That's Lily. So and I've known, I was searching for others, thinking they were my guide, and she was my guide all along. And she just was guiding me to find that love and strength within myself, because God forgives, everyone has a different belief. My desire and hope that everyone finds a higher power, God, the universe, but if not, find the power within themselves to forgive themselves and to truly, truly embody loving and forgiving yourself. Because once you love and forgive yourself, it sets you free from many of the chains that break you and hold you captive for many, many years. And like I said, it's just, I know that my going back, it started with my self-esteem and low self-confidence and feelings of less than. So those, so I know my message can connect with other women, not just women who've had an abortion. But I do know there's a lot of women that are suffering, and it's not a subject that's normally talked about. It's used to be considered taboo. But so many subjects now, rape, abortion, sex trafficking, these things are coming to the forefront. So my desire is for us to talk about it so the women can get healing. And there's men too that suffer. And they're just, even more so, men keep it because they're not supposed to talk about those kind of pains and traumas. But that's my goal, and that's my hope and my desire, just to bring a little bit of healing. Hope what I learned one time is hope stands for help one person every day. And that's my goal and my mission, is to continue using everything I've learned to help.
That's beautiful. I'm so touched, so moved by everything you said. There's a few things I just want to bring back. But first I want to say that, first of all, thank you. You're a beautiful soul, beautiful sharing, and very courageous now that you want to be free. And then you took all the actions of really being free, forgiving yourself, loving yourself. And I love how you did the dance and how you came all the way back around. What I'd love to see that story, Lily, a little booklet with this story in the a little book that you can hand out to people. That is just, it's very moving.
Just give me children. You told me that.
Yeah, so I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that little book, and Lily's name on, and then maybe on the inside it's giving the to credit to your daughters, because it was for the love. This is what I want to bring back. It was for the love that you have for your daughters. So much love. So much love for those women, those young women. Yeah. That's what made it happen. When they left, that's what opened that door. And it was their love that you had for them that you now needed to find in yourself.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah, that is my tattoo. I have 2 tattoos that are my favorite. They're always with me. my 2 daughters and my Lily, they're always with me to remind me. And I'm blessed because that was something my ex-husband, he had me tell them when they were younger. And at first it was traumatic for me. And I felt, I was ashamed, but instead that bonded us. And they've seen me grow. They've seen me become this woman, this mother that I never was. And that's my desire, because you feel that guilt, that shame of things that I expose them to because of my own lack of just not knowing better. You just, I have to say one thing, because I don't like divide. There's a divide of pro-life, pro-choice. And I'm not somebody that can ever stand on one side or the other. My only mission is called pro-love, just loving a person no matter what decision they make, because we don't walk in their shoes. We don't know what they're going through. And no matter if they choose to have the baby, they still might need, there's a lot of, if they're in a bad marriage, if there's things that could be happening that they need support. And it's, so I'm just trying to just really have people talk about their issues, their problems, both men and women, so that we don't continue this generational curses of bringing these issues to our families and this pain and trauma.
Yeah.
So.
And thank you for raising such beautiful daughters and for now speaking out. Can we get your social media handles for the audience? Let everybody know how they can follow you and look for you.
Yeah, find me out. My name's Laura, spelled Lora, Kirby. And I used to be not ashamed of, I never spoke up even when people would call me Lori. Like they used to address me as little Lori Kirby. I'm like, no, it's Laura. And it's Laura Kirby. And I wear that name proudly now. I fully own my voice and who I am and have the confidence to speak up. Those are things that we need to learn. So Laura Kirby on Instagram, Laura Kirby on Facebook.
Yeah. So I love that. Definitely want to stay in contact with you. We should definitely support each other on Facebook and Instagram, because we do a lot of posting there, but you and I could definitely play there with some of the messages that we're sending out. And it's interesting that you're talking about the name, because how we had that situation with my name early on.
Yeah.
Exactly that. It's really talking about it from that place, and we're modeling exactly our authentic truth. And that's the other part that's so important, because how else are we going to build the world? How else are we going to, live in heaven on earth that we want to live if we are not ourselves being that energy that we want to see? So Laura Kirby, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your beautiful, heartfelt story. I actually feel like you are an angel, and you look like an angel. You are. It's just wonderful what you're doing. Thank you for coming on. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
I'm Carrie Kadambi, and this is your Spirited Exchange moment. Have you been searching everywhere for answers? Do you long for wise guidance to lovingly direct you? Guess what? You have your very own divine spirit guides in the highest light, available 24/7, just waiting to help you live your best life. Call in your spirit guidance on a daily basis to help you make important decisions. All you have to do is ask, with a sense of openness, curiosity, and willingness to be divinely guided. Throughout your day, be open to notice what shows up for you. A spoken phrase, a book, a message from a song, or simply a knowing. And always offer gratitude for that loving guidance, and don't forget to put it into action. Join me on Transformation Talk Radio for my show, A Spirited Exchange. For more information about me, visit thedivineguidancegift.com.
When was the last time you had that feeling that you knew something, but you couldn't explain how you knew it? How powerful would it be for your life and business if you could consciously tap into that magic within you? What if you could remember that there's something supernatural about you? Tune in to Absolute Alignment with Christelle Biga when success feels easy. every first and third Friday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Your favorite Transformation Talk radio shows are now on Spotify. What? Simply search out your favorite host or show by name, tap the subscribe button, and boom. With over 150 million active monthly users on Spotify, Transformation Talk Radio is thrilled to expand our reach so you never have to miss an episode. Well, what the heck are you waiting for? Log into Spotify and subscribe now.
Learn how to RISE in business by being confident on video. Confidence coach Susan Axelrod and online business producer Pam Sullivan have teamed up bringing you a new podcast, Webcam Confidence for Women. Tune in live every first and third Friday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, and stay for an open virtual presenter studio session. Offering attendees confidence on webcam, a must-have skill for every woman in business. For more information, visit volutionvirtual.com/studio.
Welcome back, everyone. What an incredible show today of incredible stories of hope and transformation. And all the people that you met today are all part of wanting to make the world a better place. My next guest, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to be with her today, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to have her come back, but we'll introduce her here now. Hi, Carol.
Hey, Kornelia, thank you so much for having me on today. This is such a pleasure to be here with you.
It's wonderful. So, Carol, I wanted to let everybody know that you're a CPA and that you are a money wellness coach. And what you do is you help people, release the fears and transcend limiting beliefs so that they can really establish a good foundation, good financial foundation to build on, right?
Exactly.
That's what you help people do. So we're gonna, since we don't have much time, we only have about 5 minutes. So what can you give us in 5 minutes that is going to knock our socks off?
What I could give you in 5 minutes is this. So right now we are going through this pandemic, and there is a lot of fears, a lot of money fears, obviously, and a lot of emotional fears as well. And I've been seeing on Facebook a lot of mental health issues are arising. And it will, if you're not working, if you don't have the money, the panic sets in. Mm-hmm. So I know what it's like. Maybe some of us have been at those times where we're thinking we don't have enough money, and the panic sets in and you can't breathe because you're thinking, oh my, how am I going to cover mortgage? How am I going to cover food or rent or whatever it is? And I don't know about you, Kornelia, but when I was in that situation, 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 a.m., 2:10, that is the quietest time. And that's the time when my eyes pop open and all these thoughts just came on. Layer by layer by layer, and it does build. So it is so comforting to know there is help out there. And I think the first step is looking at your finances, because if you ignore it, it's not going to go away. It is still going to be there, but guess what? It's going to probably be a little bit worse. It's going to build on itself, right? Compound interest, the magic of compound interest, where it builds and builds and it gets so big. But if you start to address it, no matter if it's a debt or reducing spending, anything, once you just shed some light on it, it takes away that anxiety, the fear of the unknown, the stress of not knowing. For me, I prefer to know what it is I'm dealing with. If I'm in a big fat debt, show me I'm in a big debt. I want to know my situation so that I can start dealing with it. And once I can deal with it, I can then take control of my expenses. I can streamline my expenses. I can say, well, listen, I'm not going to go to Tim Hortons. I'm not going to have that coffee every day. I'm not going to go and buy my lunch every day. I mean, we're not going anywhere right now, but these takeout places are still open. Amazon is still open. My husband works in IT. Every day my doorbell is ringing because we're receiving parcels. So we are Human beings, we are resilient, we are persistent, we will find a way to spend unless we have a blueprint, unless we have a budget and we control that expense. We would find a way to spend it. So we got to curb that spending. We need to have a budget or a blueprint, something that would help us, that we can have a guide. I mean, when you're driving and you're going to an unknown destination, I don't know about you, but for me, Cornelia, my GPS is working, right? And that GPS is guiding me, telling me turn right, turn left. Well, similarly, a budget does that for you. It tells you what you can spend on and how much you can spend. And it really and truly works. There's no magic to it. It is the most easiest thing to put together and to use. But as I would say, you need to shed the light on it. I hope that's my 2 minutes or 3 minutes worth.
It is, and actually, it's enough to knock your socks off, because what you're doing is you're saying all the right things. Everything you're saying is absolutely true. That 2 o'clock in the morning, that panic that sets in, that fear of what's going to happen, and not having a blueprint, how that is just like not looking at it and thinking, wishing it's going to go away, but it's not going to go away. You're talking about empowerment of the highest order, and that is just doing the basic things, and that is making sure that you have the basics covered, that you're okay, so that you can sleep through the night with the choices that you make today.
Mm-hmm. Nicely put. Thank you.
Yeah. So Carol, you help people that people can call you for blueprints. They can call you for a program. You help people with their financials. So do you offer free calls or free discovery calls, or how do you do it?
Yes, I do have a free 30-minute discovery call. And you can reach me on Facebook, Carol Ward, CarolWard. And I definitely do all things financial. And on the mindset, we really work on removing money blocks. You will be surprised how many beliefs that we have are not our own. And when I come back, I've got a few stories to share with you how I was living somebody else's belief and called it my own, and how it affected my body.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. That's so good. It's true, because your belief are thoughts you think over and over and over again. And thoughts respond, your body responds to your thoughts. So this is true. Your body responds to your thoughts. So that's why you got to change that negative limiting belief. You've got to choose those nourishing thoughts, those healthy thoughts, so that your body can respond to that. And so, Carol, let's get your social media. Where is your social media? Where can we look for you on social
media? So you could find me on Facebook, Carol Ward, or you can find me on Instagram as well.
Good. Yeah. Good. Yeah. I love what you're doing, and how aren't you going to be rolling out a program here coming in the spring?
Oh, yes. I've got a series of online managing your money and mindset courses. And it will, I'm so looking forward to bringing this course out, because you know what? 2 things. It feeds my soul and spirit when I show people how easy it is to manage money just by releasing the money blocks. And my second reason why and my big why for doing this course is I am doing something that I really love. So I'm working and I'm building my wealth, yes, but I'm doing it with helping people, doing something that I really, really enjoy doing.
Yeah. And do you have a good team around you?
My husband is helping me get together myself. He is IT, and he's definitely helping me. And I have someone on a part-time basis who comes in to help me with all the admin work. And don't forget, it's also year-end. So I am also working on getting preparation for taxes.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. But you realize with the preparation for taxes, because we talked about this recently in one of our discussions, you and I, about, how people stress out during the time when it comes to doing taxes, and how to avoid that.
Yes.
And how to avoid that, so that we don't put our bodies, our physical bodies, through all that stress of sleepless nights, of not being able to take care of things. We want to make sure that we keep things in balance ahead of time and be proactive to when it comes to our financial, when it comes to our legacy planning, when it comes to our wealth building. Because I don't know about you, Carol, but it's time for us to really thrive in our abundance, and for all, not just for some people, but for all the ones that are ready to really take ownership and responsibility of what comes with that.
Oh, definitely. And just to address the taxes, my recommendation is don't wait until year end to do your taxes, to look at your financial information. Every month, you should be entering your information. Every month, you should be comparing it to your budget to see, is there a big difference? And if there is a big difference, what is it? And how can you correct it? What can you do to streamline expenses? What can you do to increase revenues? So these are all things you need to do on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis. And a budget is not static. It's flexible. Same way we are flexible. Every day I'm reading a new book. I am growing. I'm changing. Same way a budget is flexible. As we grow, our requirements grow and change, and it has to be reflected in our budget. So budgets can be changed. In fact, I highly recommend that you change your budget to reflect where you are. Because when you start from A, you know part of the picture. You don't know the full picture. As you progress, the picture becomes clearer and clearer. It may change. So that's where you need to change your budget to offset as well. And that's one thing I would say during the year. Keep up to date with your financials, compare it to your budget to see how far off you are and if you are corrected right there and then. Don't wait until the end of the year, because sometimes you may enter an invoice twice. You may have duplication of expenses, and you may have paid it not knowing that you enter an accounts payable and invoice twice. So the likelihood of getting that money back sooner, as soon as you realize it, is a lot better than waiting until the following year to say, oh, by the way, last January, I input an invoice twice and I paid you twice.
Yes.
So waiting a whole year to get that might be a little bit, especially now with COVID. Is that business still around, right?
Right. Yes, wonderful tips, Carol. You're going to come back and you're going to tell us the stories, and definitely keep inspiring our audience with ways that we can improve our financial stability and make our wealth building that's in alignment with our soul. So thank you so much, Carol, for coming on. Thank you, everybody, for listening and for tuning into the Kornelia Stephanie Show today. It's an honor and a pleasure, and we'll see you again next time. Take good care.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.